With just less than 10 days until polling, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are in a close race. However, recent polls signal a significant shift toward Trump. The latest New York Times polls highlight a narrow lead for Trump, and other pollsters also show the same. If this trend persists, Trump appears to be on his way to winning the 2024 U.S. election. Let's decode the latest numbers to understand this trend. The New York Times poll reveals a close matchup in a two-way race. Trump and Harris each have 48%, while 4% of respondents remain undecided. In the three-way scenario, the numbers take on a different shape, with independent candidate Jill Stein entering the equation. The New York Times poll shows Trump holding a slight advantage at 47%, which puts him 1 point ahead of Harris, who follows at 46%. Jill Stein claims 2% of the vote, which could make a critical difference for either major candidate if it draws support away from one side over the other. The New York Times poll included 32% Democrats, 30% Republicans, and 30% independents. According to a CBS News YouGov poll released today, Harris is up by 1 point nationally, with 50%, compared to Trump's 49%. The Wall Street Journal's latest poll puts Trump ahead by 3 points in a two-way race against Harris, with 49% compared to Harris's 46%. CNBC's polling results echo a similar trend, where Trump stands at 48%, while Harris trails closely at 46%. Emerson College's poll reflects an even tighter race, with both Trump and Harris tied at 48%, though Trump has gained 1 point since last week. Meanwhile, CNN's poll also shows an evenly divided electorate, with Trump and Harris both holding 47%. But what about the favorability ratings? According to the New York Times, Trump and Harris are tied in favorability ratings, with each receiving a 48% favorable and 50% unfavorable rating, giving both a net favorability of -2%. The Economist YouGov poll presents a slightly different picture, where Harris has a favorability rating of 46% and an unfavorable rating of 51%, putting her net favorability at -5%. Trump, on the other hand, holds a 45% favorability and a 53% unfavorable rating, resulting in a net favorability of -8%. CNBC's poll also examines the recent shifts in net favorability, with Trump at -6%, which is up from -13 points in September. Harris is at -10%, which is down from +3 points in September. But what are the most important issues for voters? According to the New York Times, the economy ranks as the most important issue for voters, with 27% prioritizing it as their top concern. This is followed by abortion and immigration, with each cited by 15% of respondents, while democracy stands at 7%. When asked about handling the single issue most important to them, 49% of voters lean toward Trump, giving him a 3-point lead over Harris, who has the support of 46% of voters in this area. On immigration, Trump holds a 9-point lead, with 54% of voters believing he would handle this issue more effectively, compared to 43% for Harris. When it comes to the economy, Trump again leads by 7 points, with 52%, compared to Harris's 45%. Given that the economy is the top priority for 27% of voters, Trump's lead here could be pivotal in securing the support of those most impacted by economic issues. A separate CNBC poll further highlights Trump's advantage on economic issues. He leads by a striking 18 points, with 42% of voters favoring his economic approach, compared to Harris's 24%. But here's something more favoring Trump. According to the New York Times, 61% of Americans believe the country is headed in the wrong direction, with only 28% thinking things are on the right track, and 11% unsure. This sentiment is echoed across other polls, with The Economist YouGov showing 65% viewing the nation's direction negatively and only 24% favoring its current path. The Wall Street Journal reinforces this perspective, where 64% of respondents think the country is on the wrong path and just 26% believe it is headed in the right direction. The New York Times also reports that the American public is ready for a shift. 51% call for significant change in the country's system, while 38% feel that minor adjustments could suffice. But who is leading in the swing states? Starting with the big picture, CNBC reports that Trump holds a slight lead in the swing states, coming in at 48% to Harris's 47%, with a 1-point advantage. Real Clear Politics shows a similar trend, with Trump at 48.4% and Harris at 47.5%, giving him a slim 0.9-point lead. Digging deeper into the individual states, The Washington Post reveals varying leads across different battlegrounds. In Nevada, Harris leads by less than 1 point, but Trump has gained 0.2 points since last week. Trump leads by 1 point in North Carolina, and his lead has increased by 0.4 points over the past week. Wisconsin shows Harris with a 2-point lead, although Trump has gained 0.2 points since the past week. Trump has a 2-point lead in Georgia, which gives him an edge in this critical swing state. Michigan has Harris ahead by 2 points, while in Pennsylvania, Harris maintains a narrow 1-point lead. Arizona rounds out the list, with Trump holding a 2-point lead. Real Clear Politics also provides additional detail showing Trump with notable leads in several swing states. In Arizona, Trump is at 49.2% compared to Harris's 47.7%, which gives him a 1.5-point lead. Nevada shows Trump at 47.8% and Harris at 47.1% with a 0.7-point edge. In Wisconsin, Trump leads slightly with 48.2%, while Harris is close behind at 48%. Michigan has Trump at 47.9%, which is barely ahead of Harris's 47.7%. In Pennsylvania, Trump sits at 48.3%, with Harris trailing at 47.7%, granting Trump a 0.6-point advantage. North Carolina shows Trump with a lead of 48.6% to Harris's 47.8%, with a margin of 0.8 points in favor of Trump. Georgia remains a stronghold for Trump, where he holds 49% compared to Harris's 46.8%, with a more substantial lead of 2.2 points. The lead in swing states for Trump is also visible in the latest Electoral College projections. According to 538's latest simulations, Trump is winning 54 times out of 100, with Harris winning 45 times. Similarly, The Economist projections show Trump winning 55 out of 100 times, with an estimated 277 Electoral College votes, compared to Harris's 45 times with 261 votes. Notably, this is a 1-point gain for Trump and a 1-point drop for Harris since yesterday. Decision Desk HQ's projections further support Trump's advantage, estimating that he has a 53% chance of winning with 275 Electoral College votes, while Harris is projected to receive 263. Betting odds are also showing increased confidence in Trump's chances. Polymarket odds currently place Trump at a 65% chance of winning, up by 30 points, while Harris trails with 35%. Despite Trump's apparent gains, the latest Silver Bulletin forecast shows Harris with a slight lead in the national popular vote, polling at 48.5% compared to Trump's 47.3%, with a lead of just 1.2 points. However, Trump's support has grown by 1.1% since last week and 1.6% since last month. Adding to the challenges for Harris, a New York Times Siena College poll shows historically low polling numbers for Kamala Harris in New York City, where she leads Trump by 66% to 27%. While this is still a strong lead, it marks a noticeable decline from President Biden's 76% to 23% margin over Trump in 2020. This shift comes just hours before Trump is set to hold a high-profile rally at Madison Square Garden, where he aims to make a long-shot play for New York's 28 Electoral College votes. So where are we standing with just 9 days until polling? As the 2024 election draws near, it's clear that Donald Trump has tapped into the pulse of an electorate that feels unheard and ready for decisive action. With steady gains in critical swing states, a strong showing in betting odds, and rising support in places where he once trailed, Trump's campaign is resonating with those who believe that America's best days lie ahead with bold leadership. His momentum suggests that voters are ready for a return to a strong, direct approach with policies focused on security, economic strength, and national pride. As the final stretch approaches, it seems that the tide may be shifting toward Trump as the candidate to lead the nation forward. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.